Digger here got us into this mess, and Digger's gonna dig us out again.
The trailer for Alejandro G. Iñárritu's Digger just dropped, and oh boy, it looks batshit crazy. The Birdman and The Revenant director is back with another black comedy, and Digger appears to channel the same surreal, unhinged vibe as Birdman, albeit with a grimmer, more apocalyptic tone. I mean, I watched the trailer a couple of times on loop, and my reaction the entire time was, what the actual beep is happening? Yeah, I'm not allowed to curse, guys. Anyway, I gather you get the sentiment. By the looks of it, Digger is going to be an out-and-out wild, entertaining watch, and maybe, just maybe, it might get Tom Cruise another Oscar nomination. But as far as I'm concerned, the cat puppet deserves its own award. The trailer was fast, chaotic, and screamed Iñárritu's energy, which also means there were probably quite a few things you might have missed, and that's my job here today, to dig out, pun intended, 15 interesting details about this upcoming movie that just might make you even more excited. What is The Digger about? Yeah, no, it took me 2 watches to figure out what actually the crux of the trailer was, because what do you mean you have a horse in a meeting room? Anyway, Digger is described as a comedy of catastrophic proportions in the film's official marketing. Now, what catastrophe are we talking about? Natural disaster. During a video introduction reel at Warner Brothers, Iñárritu said in a video introduction, "Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself because Mother Nature loves motherfuckers." The person at the receiving end of this swear is none other than Tom Cruise's character, Digger Rockwell. Rockwell is a blunt, southern-accented oil tycoon whose potbelly will catch your eye instantly, even underneath the black silk nightwear. He might have triggered a massive global ecological disaster, which also, can lead to nuclear war. From what it appeared in the trailer, it has to do with a melting iceberg issue caused by one of Digger's products, and he being ordered by the US president to save the day. And the official logline says, the film follows as Digger embarks on a frantic mission to prove that he is humanity's savior, before the disaster he's unleashed destroys everything. This is the basic premise of the film, but trust me, nothing seems to be basic here. For starters, Rockwell Digger could not care less about the environmental crisis because, like a true money-minded businessman, Digger is not ready to shut down a multi-billion-dollar project over something that is 10 times the size of his genitals. Rather, all his concern is for his beautiful white cat, who might be nearing the end of her 9th life, and has some 5 minutes to a few weeks to live. Why Tom Cruise's Digger is more than just a name. Before I get into the trailer breakdown, the poster with the Digger written on it caught my attention. Thanks to a bit of linguistic knowledge, I think the name might be giving away more than it seems. In Germany, Digger is a colloquial term similar to bro or dude. The word actually originated in the Hamburg dialect and stems from Dicker, which literally means thick or fat friend. Suddenly, Rockwell Digger's appearance as a bulging man makes a lot more sense. Or perhaps thick is not referring to his physique at all. It could be hinting at his thick pockets, implying that he is a wealthy friend of the government. Another meaning of Digger that intrigued me comes from Australia and New Zealand. There, it is a historical slang term for infantry soldiers who served in World Wars I and II, and it is still used today as an affectionate term for a mate. If you notice the scene where Rockwell takes a shovel down from the wall, you will also see old photographs, antique furniture, and deer antlers, all of which suggest that Rockwell comes from generational wealth. Those details could hint that his family has a long-established legacy, perhaps even one connected to military service in America's past. Last but not least, in North American English, take a digger is an informal expression meaning to take a hard fall or crash. Rockwell Digger is visibly crashing in life, making the phrase feel like another intentional layer to his name. And finally, the full name Rockwell Digger could itself be a clever pun. As a billionaire, he literally makes his fortune by digging into Mother Earth for rocks, minerals, and other natural resources. Digger might be Iñárritu's homage to Roy Andersson. Iñárritu shot Digger in VistaVision on a 1954 designed camera, and he teamed up again with his Academy Award-winning cinematographer from The Revenant, Emanuel Lubezki, for production. However, Digger's trailer has sparked some debates about the visual style and cinematography Iñárritu leaned into, with some even saying that there hasn't been enough color correction. Sure, Digger has some very muted color tones, like in this shot, and some over-the-top absurd comic sequences. But if you look closely, it becomes quite evident that Digger might have been influenced by the work of Swedish auteur Roy Andersson. If you have seen Andersson's films like Songs from the Second Floor or A Pigeon Sat on a Branch Reflecting on Existence, you'd know the level to which he can take surrealism, filling every frame with absurd, pitch-black humor. In fact, Iñárritu even listed Andersson's You, The Living of 2007, as one of his top 10 recommended watches, and in an interview with Collider he said, "Roy Andersson is one of my favorite filmmakers ever, and the Roy Andersson film that I love most is one that is called You, The Living, and how he plays the vulnerable soul of human beings, how fragile we are, and how absurd we are. There's something very beautiful about the substance of it, and the execution is just a masterpiece. I guess the similarities, especially the horse out of nowhere, now makes a little more sense." Tom Cruise is unrecognizable. Alejandro G. Iñárritu is giving us a movie where Tom Cruise is not doing action after a long time, and on the contrary is looking fat. Had his name not been listed on the cast or the man did not play an active role in discussing the film, they could have very well kept it a secret because, I swear to God, it's nearly impossible to recognize that this face could look like this. I can't imagine the amount of prosthetics and makeup that went into making the man look his age. Cruise shared during a press conference at Warner Brothers in Burbank that, "My process is, I'm absorbing. With the body, we're communicating a story. I want people to be immersed in a story," before adding, "When we're looking for characters, we're looking for humor, drama, certain constructs." See, the thing is, how Tom looks, the potbelly, the ruffled, thinning white hair, the wrinkles, and even the beaten-up magenta-colored suit all shape Digger's personality and have been carefully curated to convey the man's identity. If I link that to the shot where he's sitting at the corner of the bed, caressing his cat, his fixation with the pet, and even the jewelry on the cat's neck, it gives me the impression that all Digger has in life is luxury and immense wealth, but very little human companionship. That could explain why he appears to have stopped caring about his physical appearance, and it might even hit at a gluttonous side to his character. After all, there seems to be barely anyone in his life with whom he can truly share it. At least, not anyone stable. In the same interview, Cruise had mentioned that he even put fake teeth on to complete his look and stated, "I put the teeth on and it's like, let's go." Digger has made Tom embrace another massive transformation after Tropic Thunder, where he played an eccentric studio executive, Les Grossman. Now, Tropic Thunder had some great dance sequences, and Digger seems to be following in those footsteps. The president reminds me of, well, I am not going to take any names, but the ailing US president portrayed by John Goodman is a pretty clear nod to two different leaders of the nations. Rather, his character seems to be a combo of both of them. I'll give you some hints though. One of them appeared in a cameo in Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, and the other fell asleep at the wrong time. Tie that in with Goodman falling asleep in the chopper. Oh god, I couldn't stop laughing. And I love John Goodman, bro. He is such a versatile actor. One minute you'll see him playing the disturbing Howard in 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the next he can steal the show with his perfect comic timing as Walter Sobchak in The Big Lebowski. Seeing him in Digger, that too in such a significant role, who roars that Rockwell has to clean up the mess he created after learning it would cost some $18 trillion to fix this situation, though the solution looked like a missile being dropped on the iceberg. Digger could shine a spotlight on Tom Cruise's comedic skills. I can barely picture a Tom Cruise who is not running, but the man actually has an impressive streak of comic performances too. Sure, Tropic Thunder proved it, but if we go further back in his filmography, Cruise showed his prowess in comedy in Risky Business of 1983. He has quietly delivered hilarious performances over the years, and even while playing a gun-running, drug-smuggling pilot in American Made, he fared well. I can never forget the sequence where Barry Seal has so much cash from smuggling that he's stuffing it into closets, walls, and even burying it in his backyard. Cruise's expressions were top-notch. And it seems Digger is bringing back Cruise's funny side because, oh my god, his reactions and the exaggerated body language, the way he slurps the food off his finger, adjusts his pajamas, or stands in front of the mirror, it just assures that we are in for an original dark comedy. Cruise told Hollywood Reporter, "I have never had something that could challenge me in this way, and neither had Alejandro when we went in. Ever." Digger will see an exceptional performance from Cruise because of Cruise and Iñárritu's shared fandom. Yes, Tom Cruise is a fanboy when it comes to Alejandro G. Iñárritu. He has admired the director's work for years, and interestingly, the director, too, had been a huge appreciator of the actor. Turns out Tom Cruise loved Iñárritu's work ever since his breakout movie, Amores Perros, of 2000. He told Variety that he was blown away by the film. In his own words, "What a brilliant film. It was amazing. When I saw that film, I don't know how you all felt, but I was like, what the fuck? This guy." According to Iñárritu, the two wanted to work together since the beginning of the century, and once he pitched the movie to Tom and began working with him, he became an even bigger fan of just how amazing a person Tom is. Both the actor and director have given it their all to make this movie a masterpiece, and from the trailer it already seems like Digger will be showered with accolades. Iñárritu stated in an interview with Deadline, "The film needed Tom. The transformation he went through was astonishing." Similarly, Tom too expressed his excitement for the role and stated that it took him 40 years to play Rockwell Digger, and shared how he was ready to go to any lengths to make his character do justice to Iñárritu's vision. To quote him, "Whether it's Les Grossman or Interview with the Vampire, Collateral or Risky Business, I'm always asking, how do I communicate this? The physicality, the makeup, that is stuff that you find as you are learning how to communicate." He further stated, Cruise said at the event, "I think when you see Digger, just the level of detail, the skill, the layers of making this film, he's, González Iñárritu, never made something like this before, nor have I." Digger is an ambitious project for Iñárritu. Digger is Iñárritu's first English-language project after The Revenant, and he first pitched the movie to Cruise 7 years ago. A video message was shown at the Los Angeles event where Iñárritu said in a video message that the idea for Digger popped up in his mind right after he finished The Revenant in 2015. All he had back then was a vague concept and an undying urge to materialize it. He had no script or anything, but he knew how exactly he wanted the character to be. The director said in an interview, "I knew how he spoke, how he survived, how he seduced reality into agreeing with him. But it took me 10 years to do this film because I wasn't looking for a story. I was looking for the right way of saying it. And it's absurd, it's dangerous, but certainly comedic, because the source of great comedy is tragedy." Iñárritu further explained during a talk at El Colegio Nacional that Digger will have schizophrenic tone and that it took him years to learn how to do it technically and tonally. "I like to explore, to learn, but I worry about mannerisms." That means Digger is potentially the hardest film the Oscar-winning director ever made, and he shared the amount of blood and sweat that went into this film. In an interview with Elena San Jose, he shared, "This film, Digger, Sabina Berman and I began writing it in 2017. It has taken 9 years of writing and rewriting that script. In my life, I had never done anything like that, neither tonally nor aesthetically, nor narratively, nor structurally, nor luminously." Digger seems like a love letter to Dr. Strangelove. I am sure I'm not the only one who's getting some major Dr. Strangelove vibes from Digger. Dr. Strangelove is political satire cum black comedy co-written, directed and produced by none other than Stanley Kubrick. The movie saw a bunch of powerful men whose oversized egos and questionable decisions accidentally pushed the world towards nuclear war. You see the similarity? It's almost unmissable. Digger also revolves around one ridiculously powerful man who appears to have kickstarted a massive ecological disaster, one that could even snowball into a nuclear conflict. And instead of acknowledging his responsibility, the man is trying to convince the world that he is actually a savior. Now add the humor. Both films seem to find comedy in apocalyptic situations. That being said, I don't think Iñárritu is trying to remake Kubrick's masterpiece. No, absolutely not. Jesse Plemons, who is a part of Digger's stacked cast, stated that, "It's one of the strangest, funniest, most tragic scripts I've read. There's a kind of modern-day Dr. Strangelove thing, and then it becomes something else entirely." Jesse Plemons' character could be the film's biggest mystery. Warner Brothers has done a pretty solid job of keeping Jesse Plemons' character under wraps, and of course that has pushed fans to start cooking up theories. The first and probably the safest one is that he'll be some sort of government insider. We already know John Goodman is playing the US president, and Riz Ahmed is his assistant, so people think Plemons could be another White House official or maybe even a scientist helping tackle the environmental disaster. The second one seems to be a lot more fun, where fans are speculating that Plemons will be the poor soul who has to deal with Digger's madness. You know, the one sane person in the room while everyone else is losing their minds? Yeah, he might be that guy. But honestly, I think both of those theories are a little too obvious, and that's why the third one is my favorite. Look at him in the trailer. He has this sinister smile and orangish hair. The way he just stands there, it looks like he is almost amused while everything around him is burning. Yes, literally. My best bet is that Plemons will turn out to be the film's biggest wild card and end up being the secret antagonist who has been pulling the strings all along. If we bring in Plemons' words that the film becomes something completely different, it's possible he was hinting that it's his character who flips the entire story. Sandra Hüller's character might be closer to Digger than we think. Right after her impeccable performance in Project Hail Mary, Sandra Hüller is back in what looks like a really strong role. The frame where she sits at the table is oozing with confidence and aura, and though nothing about her character has been officially revealed yet, I think she will be playing someone directly related to Digger. It's possible that her role will be that of Rockwell's estranged wife or former partner. Let me tell you why I think that. There's this blink and you'll miss it shot where Rockwell dances with Sandra's character, and the comfort between the two doesn't give me the vibe that they are strangers. Rather, it feels intimate and almost nostalgic, like they're reliving a happier time amidst the chaos. If that's actually the case, it could mean Hüller's character knows the real Digger beneath all the wealth and ego, and she might even be one of the very few people who can call him out on his nonsense. The other possibility is that Hüller will be portraying some kind of a scientist or activist who is constantly at odds with Digger and his billion-dollar empire. And in that context, the dance sequence might create a surreal moment where two foes accept fate. But there's another shot where Sandra shrugs her hand in frustration, and it can be tied to either of the roles we speculated. Either she is done with Digger's eccentric behavior, or as an activist, she is fed up with how these businessmen exploit nature. But personally, I'm leaning towards the first theory, and given how well Sandra Hüller can carry emotionally layered performances, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up being the emotional anchor of the entire film. The actor is extremely excited for the movie, and in a recent interview she admitted, "I am nearly bursting and wanting to talk about this movie. I legally can't." She then revealed that she had seen an early cut of the film and added that it impresses me beyond anything I've ever seen. Sophie Wilde could be playing a Digger's family member. Among the myriad of shots we saw in quick cuts towards the end of the trailer, one caught my eye. It was Digger hugging Sophie Wilde. Now, we have zero idea about who Wilde must be playing, but given her performances in Talk to Me and the erotic thriller Baby Girl where she starred alongside Nicole Kidman, we can assume she will be playing some character with an important emotional arc. Moreover, the scene in the trailer looked like an emotionally vulnerable sequence to me. Cruise's Rockwell is hugging Sophie's character, and Rockwell's clothes are sweaty, his hair ruffled. There are people in the background, out of focus, but it seems like Digger won something after a long fight, and holding the tired man's head with a smile, the proud face is Sophie. It's possible that she might be playing a close family member of Digger, with whom the man is really attached for some reason, or who can bring out Digger's soft side. Or Sophie can be playing a protege, someone Digger is preparing to walk into his footsteps, and someone who is now proud that her role model has finally achieved what he wanted. Wait, there's another possibility. Wilde could be playing a journalist or investigator who is putting up a warm and friendly facade to actually expose Digger's hand in the severe natural calamity. I might be splitting hairs here, but I couldn't unsee the emotional weight of the shot. Digger will be an unapologetic political satire. If we bring in the dialogue spoken in the trailer in a scattered manner along with Digger's body language, where he breaks the fourth wall and says, "Let's go," and the scene where he plays with the globe with his feet establishes that he is one of the most powerful men in the world who has ties with the government. Understandable, an entrepreneur of that stature will have connections to the nation's administration, and someone from the authority even says that Digger has put them in the mess and he will dig them out again. It is the "again" that caught my eyes because it suggests that Digger has an ongoing relationship with political leaders and has helped people out of several such crises, which might have been caused by him or by someone in power, and Digger just used his influence to cover things up. Even when the president's associate, played by Riz Ahmed, yells at him inside the private jet, Digger is angry as if everyone has turned their back on him when everything fell apart, while they all were in it together as long as they were benefiting. You can also see Ahmed's character putting his head on Digger's shoulder, who looks at something with a bloody wound on his forehead, and their expressions hint that whatever they are looking at is good news. The point is, the indication is pretty clear that Digger and the administration were in the game together before everything backfired, and he does not look like someone who is taking it well. At first he says that he cannot stop nature but change the narrative. Sure, a powerful man like him can manipulate the public narrative, but then we see him with a shovel getting ready to dig. Now combine that with the last scene where he says, when all fails, you hit him with the truth. You get the drift, right? Digger digging up the truth? Yeah, it might hit the government hard, and some really scandalous bombshells might be dropped. The fact that Tom Cruise said, this guy's got king balls, and I'm like, I can't wait, let's go, hints that Iñárritu is about to do something divisive. Some people might love it while others might lose track of what is happening in the middle of all the mayhem. Wait, is that Emma Darcy? Yes! This meek and scared looking woman at the back in a red shirt is none other than Emma Darcy. She appeared in this shot where Digger looks completely unhinged, as if he is a scientist who is about to scream, Eureka! It's possible that Emma might play Digger's daughter, who has to endure her father's crazy bullshit and knows how volatile he can get, hence the uneasiness. Or Emma might be an employee who has started to realize what a huge train wreck Digger has caused and the company's unethical practices have surfaced. She does look like someone who wants to break free from Digger's grips but is unable to do so for some reason. It may be familial or professional. Darcy told Entertainment Weekly, I'm very excited. I haven't seen it, but I knew while I was in the room that something incredibly special was happening. I would have gone there and shot nothing. I would have been happy just to stand at the door and ogle at that process. The white horse may symbolize nature's reckoning. I have been soft launching that damn horse ever since the beginning because even amidst that bonkers trailer, this one shot was totally off the rails. Or so I thought. So we basically see a white horse inside a boardroom filled with military officials, executives, and world leaders. It's an intentionally surreal shot and may even be used as a humorous point. But if you think about it, it's possible that the horse has been put in to mark the contrast between nature and the very people responsible for exploiting it. Yes, it looks completely out of place in a room built for power and corporate decision-making. But maybe that's the point. Maybe while humans cut down trees and burn woodlands, we appear to be an equally absurd creature in their world. The horse thus can be seen as a symbol of the natural world that the billionaires and authorities have long ignored in the name of development. And that red lightning, boy, it makes the scene even more unsettling. Red is often used to evoke feelings of danger, crisis, guilt, or even impending judgment. And Iñárritu might have carefully chosen the color tone to make the room feel more like a tribunal, where humanity is finally being forced to answer for its actions. You know, the horse might represent innocence or a warning, but one thing the image perfectly captures is the movie's central conflict between human ambition and the consequences of misusing natural resources.
You hit him with the truth, the hard truth, just bang, bang, bang!
Alright guys, that's all for today. Digger is set to hit the big screen on October 2nd, 2026, and I absolutely can't wait to see what a gloriously messy and quirky film this turns out to be. Let me know all your theories in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!